What's up, ladies and gentlemen, ballers and Jack? This is episode 37 of Designated Podcast. My name is Jacob.
What up, I'm Joss.
I'm Julz.
And let's get right into this baby. It's a fiery episode
go.
today.
He's starting us off with a bang, dude. He is fired up.
You had to kill
Bro,
him.
Dude, how can I not be fired up? We're talking massive performance from Giovanni Reina today. The absolute two most exciting groups we're going to be talking about. And, of course, Wolverhampton running riot on West Ham. Can the day get any better?
I don't know.
Let's begin, ladies and
If
gentlemen.
that one's in the agenda, but you know what?
Oh, we got to talk about it at some point.
Joss left. Is he coming back? Okay.
You think that's funny, bro? Huh? You think it's funny? Making me cry? Is that what you like? Huh?
Save the tears for relegation, bro.
Oh, bro. You killed him.
Bro, I know we are not going down, dude. In fact, I've already got an idea for what happens when we're not going down.
Dude, you guys aren't going down. If all jokes aside, if we're gonna spend 2 seconds on this. Who is going down, real quick? Okay, for sure Norwich. No questions asked.
Yep. Aren't they already relegated? Oh wait, no, never mind.
Not mathematically, no.
Not mathematically, but they are
They're-
essentially relegated.
They're done.
Aston Villa's going down.
Sadly.
And then I didn't get to watch the Bournemouth game today, but it did not sound
Yeah.
like they were super convincing.
Mm-mm.
So
Because they put it on Peacock, dude. I don't know why.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I get why,
Fuck it.
because it was like the Belmont Stakes, but like, does anyone have Peacock? Dude, I think I can count on one hand the amount of people with Peacock.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I honestly-
I agree.
The current bottom three is who I think is going down.
That's fair.
what I think as well. I think we're gonna scrape 16th.
If I could put one team in the relegation zone, just like automatically right now, it would be Brighton. I want them to go.
Either, I mean, I would say Southampton for sure. But I
Oh.
don't know.
Bro, Jack is going to be like in your DMs.
He's not even here, bro.
I
He's
know.
not even here.
He's gonna listen to this and just be in your DMs, dude.
He better, dude. He better come for me, bro.
All right.
He,
He dares him to.
he knows I only speak facts on this show, bro. He knows.
Jesus, man. All right.
All facts, no fiction from Jacob.
Okay. We're gonna pick up where we left off last week. Sadly, Evan was not able to join us yet again for this one, but yeah. So we're gonna go ahead. Group E. I'm just gonna read off the teams, and then I'll start with who I had in the bottom, and then we'll go up from there. Group E is Atlanta, Columbus, the New York Red Bulls, and FC Cincinnati. I'm gonna start out. I had Cincinnati in last.
So did I, Jacob. What did you have?
I have the Columbus Crew in last place.
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna
Do
be
you want to
very.
elaborate on that?
Yeah, I want to hear Jacob. I want to hear Jacob's side on this.
We might as well just go over my whole standings before we even get into this disaster fest of what I'm about to say.
Jesus, man. Oh, yeah.
Really good idea, bro. I don't think that we're gonna have anything similar.
Okay. Group E for Cincinnati. My only note for them is just yikes.
Oh, come on, bro. Bro,
I don't
you are ignoring the clear signs. Like, everything is right in front of you of why Cincinnati's getting out of this group.
Look, man,
There's no questions asked.
I was about to analyze a little bit more. I know Jobstom is a good managerial pick for Cincinnati. I know that. And of course they just signed Locadia through 2021, right? I think on loan. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they've got a good team, and of course Yuya Kubo, who is just an amazing player. It's just like, how long has Jobstom been with Cincinnati? How long has he been?
I think like 2 months. How many games has he coached?
None.
That's zero.
Joss is lagging,
Exactly.
but just a little bit. But look, I'm not gonna try and judge a team that, like, especially under a new manager that I've never watched, because I've never watched Jobstom manage a game, and none of us have seen FC Cincinnati under Jobstom. But I think that's why I'm putting them at the bottom, because I've seen the other three teams play, and even this season, and I think that they look really decent at times from what I've seen. Cincinnati was a disaster last year. We know that. I'm not sure that Jobstom in his first 3 games is going to be able to turn the Cincinnati side completely around and get them through to the group stage. That's my big thing with Cincinnati.
So are we talking about the FC Cincinnati that absolutely destroyed Atlanta United in the regular season without Jobstom? Is that the Cincinnati we're talking about?
I'm sorry, wait, what?
Okay, so let's break this down, right? Atlanta United won that game 2-1, but let's look at chances created. FC Cincinnati, right? Their first game under their manager, first game with Locatian, 14 chances created, 14 shots to Atlanta United's 8 in both categories. Now, take away, right? Let's take away Joseph Martinez for Atlanta United, and let's put in a competent manager for FC Cincinnati, and then let's throw in this just a absolute mare of situations that FC Cincinnati is ready to cope with, because this is what they've dealt with for like the whole entire last season of just like absolute shithousery within their club. They are built for this situation.
Jacob,
this is their time.
Jacob, I just want to tell you right now, Adam John was starting for Atlanta United in that game, not Joseph Martinez.
Joseph Martinez was starting. It doesn't matter, dude. They still don't have Joseph Martinez, man. It's FC Cincinnati's time.
I guess we'll just agree to disagree on that one, but I don't know. I guess I'm more curious as to why you'd put Columbus in last. I thought they were pretty good from what I saw this season so far.
No, they had a good game against NYCFC.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got
masterclass.
They got a draw against the Sounders, right?
Yeah. I would say a draw against Seattle's a decent result.
At Seattle.
Yeah,
right.
at Seattle as well.
No, a very, very good result. But the fact that I have FC Cincinnati moving on, I feel like it would be disrespectful not to have at least Atlanta United and New York Red Bulls in the top 3.
I'd say that's fair, but I also had the Red Bulls in 3rd, so but yeah. And then Joss, did you have anything you want to add on Cincinnati?
Cincinnati are a melting pot of problems.
Oh yeah.
Last season, they set an MLS record for most goals conceded in a season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many they conceded?
It was like 80.
74.
No, 70. Yikes.
74 goals. Do you know how many games an MLS season is?
36. I can't remember.
34 games.
Okay. Wow.
That's insane.
That's over 2 goals per game.
That is
Okay.
crazy.
Okay. So we're talking about MLS, right?
Yeah.
Can we remind 2 years ago who won the Western Conference?
Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, where did they finish last year?
Okay, look, we're not going to talk about that. That's
They
different.
finished
Okay.
11th in the West. They finished 11th in the West.
Right. We have seen teams go from utter, absolute dog shit, right? So Sporting Kansas City at the top of their game this year, from absolute, utter dog shit, and just elevate their game like crazy in just like a year. We're talking about Minnesota United here. Now, I'm not saying Minnesota was as bad as FC Cincinnati, because they weren't. And in fact, Minnesota was half decent. But last year, they certainly elevated their game. MLS is so much closer than we give them credit for. FC Cincinnati made a huge jump last year up to MLS. They have had internal problems, but now they've sorted themselves out with a good manager. They've already had 2 good results, realistically. They lost 2-1 to Atlanta United and 3-2 to New York Red Bulls. Away to New York Red Bulls, I will add. They're going to come back into this situation, and they're going to be ready for this chaos.
So I think what I'm getting from Jacob here is that they thrive upon chaos.
They are going to.
This whole Orlando tournament is chaos.
Oh, dude, it is. It is.
So you're saying like this
chaotic.
you put this melting pot of chaos into this chaotic perfect storm, and only one winner emerges, and that's FC Cincinnati.
No, they're not going to run out winners of this whole tournament.
No, I'm saying yeah. But I think that if they got out of the group, they could be seen as a winning team, as like one of the winners of the tournament.
Another thing.
No, I'd agree.
Another thing I'd like to add is that Cincinnati have conceded 5 goals in their first 2 games. Not exactly the greatest.
To arguably the 2 of the best teams who were also in the group, and they only lost by 1 goal in each of those games. So they have, put up 3. They conceded 5. But in both of these scenarios, neither of them have been terrible results given who they've played. I think it's just too early to count them. And both of these are on the road, mind you. Mm-hmm. So these are 2 tough environments to travel to, especially for your first 2 games of the year, especially considering all this bullshit they've had to deal with, their whole managerial situation with their manager just being an utter racist. None of that problem's fixed. They've come into a more stable environment. They've already had to deal with chaos, and they've already thrived under 2 games, essentially, only losing by 1 each, proving that they can score on the road in situations that are maybe not the most comfortable. I'm ready to see it.
I think that's fair, actually.
I think that's a very good analysis. But also, it's Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati will be Cincinnati, I think.
So besides, I think that obviously their road scoring record's very good. They've thrived upon this chaos, like we've mentioned. I just think that it's all too much of a mess to have before this tournament. I think that they have never really been that well organized team, and I think that you add this chaos into the already chaotic tournament, and they fall apart.
Now, let me also remind you one quick thing here. This FC Cincinnati team is not a team that has always just been utter crap either. I mean, if they have made some deep US Open Cup runs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what this is. This is playing under utter chaos, because that is what US Open Cup is. That's what all these cups are.
I think, for a team like Cincinnati, I can see why you'd say that this is a tournament where they would thrive. I can definitely see that.
And they definitely drew arguably the best team they possibly could have drawn first, I think, in Columbus. Because this is, for me, this is very much shaping up to what we saw USA play like in 2014 when they drew this supposed group of death as well, right?
Yeah.
So you've got USA-Ghana first game, and then you've got us, Portugal and Germany, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, Atlanta United or New York Red Bulls will beat up on each other. FC Cincinnati come out with some lucky win against Columbus. So now they're up 3. They have 3 points, and Atlanta United and New York Red Bulls have 3. They somehow get a draw against New York Red Bulls and Atlanta United. They make their way out of this group, especially with the 3rd place rule. It can happen. It can happen.
I really like that analogy, actually. So I'm actually kind of seeing it now. I'm feeling bad about the rest of my draw, but also I don't know. I am gonna have a couple of things to say later on, but we're gonna move up to 3rd place, because I think this is where we're gonna start to see some differentiating. In 3rd, I had the New York Red Bulls.
I think that because they are so metro, I also had the New York Red Bulls.
Right.
And this is amazing because I also had the New York Red Bulls.
All right, then screwed. I guess not that different. Whatever. But yeah, I think the Red Bulls are one of the teams that I think could definitely get through on one of the 3rd place, one of the 4 third places. And again, it's like I can't really see there being too many where in these groups specifically where there's a team that wouldn't get a 3rd place spot, which is difficult. But the Red Bulls, I just said they had a decent start, but still just no key striker at the moment after losing their all-time leading goal scorer in MLS history. I'm not sure exactly where the goals are going to come from right now.
And for me, I think we saw a little bit about that in the RSL game. They had really limited shots that game, right?
Yes,
It
that was a pretty bad game for them up top.
And for me, that's a little bit where my fear comes in for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what New York are we going to get? Now, I think New York still has loads of talent.
100%.
And obviously they still, they've got Tim Parker in the back, so it's like they still obviously have some quality players in their side. But it's again, what New York are we going to see?
Yeah, it's just who really is their main striker? Is it Ben White?
They play Not his name. Is his name Ben White?
Is it Ben White?
It's Brian White.
Brian White. My bad.
And Daniel Royer. They play like a 4-4-2 with those two up top.
Oh, Daniel Royer up top. I think
Yeah.
Daniel that's a good move for them, is putting Royer up top. I can see that working for them. But yeah, obviously Kyle Duncan, he's really had I guess not a resurgence. It's really his first time breaking through.
Just a surgeon.
Yeah, just a surgeons. He's really seemed to just come to life for the Red Bulls. He has stepped up to the task for the Red Bulls after they lost Michael Murillo and Kamar Lawrence, which 2 huge losses in the offseason, losing both of your starting fullbacks, arguably the best fullback pair in the league. But Kyle Duncan's been, I think, the most impressive player for the Red Bulls for me in the first 2 games. And I think that we're definitely going to see a bit more of Kyle Duncan shining for the Red Bulls. I just think at the moment, Atlanta, we know we all have Atlanta and Columbus, or not Columbus, Atlanta, or well, Jacob doesn't, but I have Atlanta and Columbus going through. Again, I think it's just up top where the Red Bulls are really going to suffer. If Daniel Royer can't adapt to that striker position right away, which he kind of was struggling, like you said, against Salt Lake. He was very struggling in that game to get off shots. But I don't think it's exactly a huge... I don't know. I don't think he's adapted fully for the Red Bulls yet. I think we still need to see somebody step up at striker for the Red Bulls, whether that's Brian White or... oh my God, what is the other kid's name? Jorgensen?
Matthias Jorgensen.
Matthias Jorgensen, yeah.
Jorgensen.
Yeah.
One of them has to really step up for the Red Bulls, and I'm not saying it's impossible. I think that there's definitely quality in both of those players, but I do think that we need to see a bit more from them if they're going to get through.
Now here's why I have the Red Bulls this far down. It is a cup. It is a cup.
Yep. You need to say nothing more.
They know it's a cup, okay? They are the Metro Stars at heart. You can rebrand all you want. They are the Metro Stars. So
that's all you need to say. That's all.
Yeah, I mean it's a cup. It's a cup. No, but I do want to say I'm a big fan of the Red Bulls. Just in the off season, going in and promoting from within instead of going out and trying to buy.
They did go out and buy a little bit, but it wasn't
huge.
It wasn't huge name players.
I mean, they lost Bradley Wright Phillips, and we expected them to go out and splash the cash.
Yeah,
and they haven't done that. Now, I did read a report today that they were after a League One striker named Tony, I think. Injury prone, plays for Peterborough United, but he scored about a goal a game. So, swings and roundabouts. But I'm just a big fan of their youth system and choosing to promote from within rather than going out and buying a striker.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But again, it's a cup. They're the New York Red Bulls. They're coming third.
The Red Bulls, the mighty Red Bulls. But yeah. All right, good stuff. We're going to go ahead and move on to second place. I had the Columbus Crew.
I had Atlanta United.
Ooh.
And I, of course, have FC Cincinnati.
Yeah. And we've kind of already discussed this a bit. I want to talk more about Columbus in this one and Atlanta, since Joss had Atlanta there. I think the more I think about it, the more I've been thinking about it as we've been recording. These notes are from last week. And the more I've thought about it over the last week, I think I might switch Atlanta and Columbus, honestly. Again, like you said, without Joseph Martinez, how do they do up top? Who's going to be scoring all the goals without him? But we did kind of see, I feel like we did see a bit of goal scoring from Pity Martinez and Ezekiel Barco against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So, and has Joseph Martinez scored this season? I don't think he has.
No,
he has not.
Yeah, it was Barco and Hindman in the first game, then Barco and Pity Martinez in their second game. Now, that's not to say that Joseph Martinez, just because he hasn't scored this season, that doesn't mean he's not crucial. He still is. He is one of Atlanta United's most crucial players. But I mean, we have seen that they have stepped up even without Joseph Martinez already with Barco and Pitti. But again, it's just, does their striker do well? I think that's what determines if they get through, if they get first or second place. I don't see Atlanta crashing out of this tournament, though. I just can't see it. This seems like a tournament that Atlanta would step up to the task, even without Joseph Martinez. Especially since it's in Orlando. But, yeah, I think... I don't know. I kind of did want to talk about the crew more. I don't know why I just started talking about Atlanta, but... in my notes with Columbus, I just said they had a pretty good start, draw in Seattle, and then they had a pretty good victory against NYC. But Zalarian, I think he is the key for Columbus in this group. I don't know if you guys would disagree or not, but
I'm with you 100%.
He had a great.
I'm with you, but with an asterisk.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, obviously he's not like. I wouldn't say losing him would mean they're like completely out, but he had a pretty good start for Columbus. He had that wonder goal against NYC. My God, such a good goal. But I think if Zalarian can keep stepping up for Columbus, then I think they get through. It's just as simple as that. I'm not sure if they'd go for first place at this point. I know Jacob would disagree with me if I said that, but but I think that among Columbus, the Red Bulls, and Atlanta, it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah. I wanted to say a couple things about. Are we allowed to talk about Atlanta?
Yeah, you can. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Because I mean, I know you talked about Pitti and Barco.
Yeah.
Stepping up in the absence of Joseph Martinez. But what about Emerson Hyndman?
Oh,
2 goals.
No. I did want to
2
talk
games.
about him, but I forgot.
2 goals in 2 games. The young American, he's come over after being bought from Bournemouth, so there's a little bit of, he wasn't good enough to cut it in the Premier League. What makes you think he's going to be good enough over here?
I just want to say it now. Without Emerson Hyndman, Bournemouth are currently in the relegation zone in the Premier League, so I think that just proves something.
He only speaks facts. This guy does not miss. You're starting Jefferson Lerma, and you had Emerson Hyndman. This is crazy to me.
No, they went out of their way and bought Jefferson Lerma.
Yeah, like what is wrong with them? So I think that it's Frank de Boer in his second season, and I don't think that there's anything that they would love more than to go down and win the Orlando Cup in Orlando.
Oh yeah,
right?
They would love that.
That's their rivals. They're used to the heat. They're from the South. They're used to the heat and humidity already. I think that they're going to be very formidable. I think they train in this. I think they're going to be well equipped to handle whatever Cincinnati, New York Red Bulls, and Columbus have to throw at them.
I think that's pretty fair. I honestly didn't even factor in the geographical part of it, but
I mean, yeah, I feel like just they're going to be driven. Can you imagine the memes that they could tweet out if they win the cup?
Oh my God!
It'll be a war zone on Twitter.
MLS Twitter would be at war.
Let's be very real here. Atlanta United getting out of this group and then getting knocked out first round. No questions asked.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
If we look
no
at
questions
the East,
asked.
I don't know. Look at the East.
Asked.
Look at the East. How strong are their opponents that are probably getting through? I mean, we talked about it in the last one. I think our general consensus was Montreal, Toronto are getting through Group C. And then Group A, we had a lot of differing opinions, actually, the more I remember it. But if we look at the Eastern Conference opponents, I think Atlanta could make a pretty deep run into this tournament. That's just me speaking, but I think it does matter who they get matched up against. I think if it's Montreal or Toronto, they might have a tough time, especially with Henri Ball with Montreal. But yeah, I don't know.
Henri Ball, I love Henri Ball. Dude.
I think
for it.
I think we shouldn't count them out in the playoffs just yet.
No, that's just my hatred for Atlanta.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair.
I had Atlanta topping the group for a very simple reason. I thought they looked pretty good in CONCACAF play. in having rest back in like having their players being rested now. And I think we saw more polished Pity Martinez this year with his second year coming in.
100%.
I feel like they're ready to strike, and I feel like Atlanta usually always puts forth a really good foot in these cup competitions. So I don't think they're going to have much of a problem. I think they're going to run this group like Germany ran it back in 2014.
Do you see him going 3 for 3?
At the very least, I see him getting 7. I really think so.
Okay. Go unbeaten, not bad. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to our final group of the tournament, and this is one that I think is extremely interesting. Group F includes the reigning Supporter Shield champions LAFC, along with the Portland Timbers, the LA Galaxy, and the Houston Dynamo.
The draw's not rigged. The draw is not rigged.
Oh no, not at all.
No.
How could they have
let's just
planned
make
it,
that
boys?
clear. Let's make that clear.
It would have been impossible for them.
It would have been impossible for them to plan that. Draw's not rigged. No. It's a coincidence.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's clear. I mean, the Portland Timbers are in here, and the Dynamo are in here. But do you see Dallas and Seattle? No, so it's not rigged.
I don't. They pulled a little tricky on us, bro. Because as soon as I saw that Portland number get called, I was like, yeah, Seattle are in this group. Or as soon as I saw Seattle number get called,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, Portland are going to be in that group. I was wrong. I'll hold my hands up. I'll say it.
But
it takes a big man to admit his mistakes.
We should go ahead. We should start off Group F with who we all had in last place. I don't know. I'm not sure what you guys had, but I had the Houston Dynamo.
I had the Houston Dynamo. And I say that that is my most confident answer that we've done.
Jacob?
I have the Portland Timbers.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
You what?
What do you mean? Portland's so clearly coming last in this game.
Okay. Jules, can I take the lead on this one?
Go ahead.
The Houston Dynamo. That's all I have to say.
No, the Houston Dynamo. Okay, so as Sporting Kansas City fans, we all got to watch that monstrosity that they put forth.
That was
in Children's Mercy Park, right?
Okay,
I also watched the Portland.
Okay, hold up.
I also watched the Timbers. So don't get your knickers in a twist. I watched the Timbers as well. I'm telling you, I watched the game. But go on. What were you gonna say?
Okay. So I'm glad that you caught that Houston game, but did you catch their Houston game where they absolutely obliterated LA Galaxy on the road?
I think obliterated is a bit of a hard statement
for a 1-1 draw.
They were at home.
Or were they at home? It doesn't matter.
They were at home.
I don't know.
Regardless, dude.
Here's how I view it.
Houston's ready for the heat.
Here's how I view that game. A Houston Dynamo that then went on to lose 4-0. Or not 4-0. It was 4-0, sorry. I keep forgetting. 4-0 in Kansas City. Played to a 1-1 draw with an LA Galaxy team that then went and lost in Vancouver, where Sporting Kansas City won. So basically Houston's finishing last.
The Galaxy lost at home to Vancouver.
No, I thought
and Corona got a red card.
Oh, he did.
No. It was at home. Yeah. Which, not the greatest. probably more embarrassing.
I don't know. I was teetering between the Galaxy and the Dynamo getting last, honestly, at this point. I was but I think I want to say something really quick about the Dynamo. Again, they had a terrible start. Tab Ramos, their new manager. We know Tab Ramos is good. He's done so much good for the youth national team. But he needs more time to get these players straight. And I think, especially going into a tournament as short as this one, it's just, I think he has too little time to get too much done with the Dynamo. Yeah. So I don't see them getting through on that alone.
I'm a fan of this Tab Ramos hiring because Texas is a breeding ground for talent. We know that. Dallas have the best youth academy in the nation, right?
Yeah.
So Houston getting the youth national team coach, a guy that's worked with these 17, 18, 16-year-olds throughout his career, that's a good hiring, okay? But that is not a cup manager first season hiring. That is a long-term project building hiring.
Mm-hmm.
That is a promote from within young hiring. Now, in terms of how the Dynamo play, I don't know. I do not know their plan. I cannot see a viable plan that the Houston Dynamo put forward whenever they play.
For me, Tab Ramos just told his players in the first 2 games, just go out and do whatever and I'll figure it out from there.
That's exactly what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like. Do they want to be a high pressing team? I don't think they have the players for it.
No, they definitely
I don't think that they have settled on their best lineup yet. I mean, like, they have Darwin Quintero, they have Mauro Manotas, they have Tommy McNamara, they have Martinez,
Tomas
Martinez. They have a decent holding mid in Vera who can cover ground easily, and he's kind of like that bulldog. But it's like they have all these pieces, but they don't have like a puzzle. They don't have like a joint. They have like all the different pieces of different puzzles. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
They have Christian Ramirez still, I think. That's right,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah.
have Christian Ramirez. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So I think that they have all the makings of a good team, but Tab Ramos hasn't set his plan in yet. Now maybe he's done that over this break, and if he has, props to them. But I don't think Houston hired him to win silverware and win an Orlando out of the blue cup in his first season. I think Houston hired him because they need that project building manager so that they can start to reap the benefits of having the talent factory that Dallas have, and like build to become a dynasty in 3 to 4 years. I'm not saying Dallas are a dynasty. I'm just saying that they have a talent factory that they are utilizing, and Tab Ramos hasn't had the time to make it so Houston are prepared to get out of this group.
Yeah,
I will explain to you exactly why you are 125% wrong when I get to the Houston Dynamo later.
Okay.
But let me tell you why Portland is finishing last in this group. They lost in a very unconvincing fashion a 3-1 game to Minnesota United. And then they proceeded to get outshot by Nashville SC. Nashville SC. Arguably like one of the worst teams that we have ever seen. Their best player is Walker Zimmerman. They got outshot 14-3.
Are you hearing Walker Zimmerman disrespect, Jules? Is that what this guy's saying?
I like Walker Zimmerman. But you're going to tell me that you're not going to put a team that got outshot by Nashville SC 14-3 while at home and last? I am not here for this malarkey, dude. I am not here.
I'm sorry, bro, but this Houston team do not know what they're doing, and it's pretty obvious to see.
Mm-hmm. It's like at least with Portland, we know the structure is there. We know the players that are going to be starting and everything. I just think with Houston, there's too many ifs. I think that's my main reason that Houston is in the bottom. We don't know what is going to happen with this Houston team, and we didn't even know when we were watching them. I think that's a big part of it too.
No. Now look. This Portland team, they may have gotten outshot, but they won the game. Okay, that is so important in these group games, right? Portugal in the Euros came third in their group. They won the whole thing. I think that we have to mention that it's not the fact that they got outshot; it's the fact that they won the game.
But from a statistical standpoint, that's a statistical anomaly.
I think that if you're looking at it from a statistical standpoint, that's fine. But I'm looking at it as more as like they went out there and they got the result that they needed, and they did it in the way that they maybe didn't want to do it, but it still happened. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now Nashville dominated the game. They won more aerial duels. They had more dribbles. They had a lot more corners. But the fact is,
are you talking about the fact that Portland had 0 corners that game? 0.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
0. Zilch.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But Diego Valeri, Sebastian Blanco, the Chara brothers. That's a lineup.
And Felipe Mora.
Felipe Moro. I swear to God, I'll say it, bro. Andy Polo.
I swear to God.
You think I won't? You think I won't say it? They have one of the best keepers in the league in Steve Clark, and he showed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had to show it that game, dude.
Steve Clark disrespect?
I'm not disrespecting. I'm just not saying he's one of the best in the league.
Oh, dude, come on. He's been one of the best in the league.
Okay, not
Bro,
to mention
dude.
Darren Asprilla, who is the playoff god for Portland.
Yes. This is Asprilla ball. This is Asprilla time. Okay? We are going to witness history when Darren Asprilla goes 3 for 3 and Portland run out 1-0 winners in each of these games.
Can I mention that in this game, Dominique Badgie, Nashville's forward, had 0 shots. 0. In 71 minutes played, dude. And they still managed to get 14 shots up against this team, dude. What is this?
But that's
Okay,
because
I just want to mention real quick, only 4 of those were on target for Nashville. Portland had a better shot on target conversion rate. They had 3 shots and 2 on target. I just want to mention that.
And you know why? You know why? Because Diego Valeri plays for Portland.
I think in this
Diego Valeri ball.
In this specific situation, what we're looking at with Nashville, I think, is just inaccuracy. Like, they got more shots off, but they were more inaccurate than Portland. I think for Portland, one of their big things is being accurate when you're looking at their
clinical.
shots. Being clinical. That is a better word for it. I think again, we're basing this off of 2 games, which is completely unfair, but what else do we have to work off of? This is MLS. It'll be crazy.
This is football heritage. All right.
Exactly. But I think that basing just the shots is kind of unfair. I mean, look, Nashville had more shots on frame, that's fair, but their conversion rate wasn't as high as Portland's.
And I think that shot, now correct me if I'm wrong, but shots also count as shots blocked, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, yes, I think
if they take a shot and it hits Lawrence Mabiala, it still counts as a shot.
Yeah.
Then I think that there's arguments to be made that this Portland defense is just like they're a brick wall.
I'd
like to mention real quick that no, those count as blocked shots.
Okay.
Not shots.
So
right,
how many blocked shots did they have?
They had 3.
They had 3 block shots. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd say Portland's backline is exactly wonderful. I mean, I'd say their best players maybe like Mabiala.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Diego Chara is good.
Of course. Diego Chara is a beast. Probably the best defensive mid in the league, if we're being honest. I think it's unfair to base just Portland's 2 performances. Again, that Minnesota loss was pretty bad. I can admit that. They looked pretty bad in that game. But I just and this is a big problem with all these teams, honestly, is it's unfair to base it off of 2 games, but I guess that's all that we have to go off of. Good job. Yep, nice, Joss. But yeah, we should go ahead and move on. 3rd place.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. No, you go. You're good.
Okay. 3rd place, I had the LA Galaxy.
Yep.
I also had the LA Galaxy.
Okay, I'm glad we're all in agreement on that. Chicharito needs to step up. That's it. He needs to step up. He needs to start scoring for the Galaxy. Otherwise, they're not getting through. I think it's as simple as that. Actually, that's all I had in my notes, honestly, for them. If you guys had anything else.
They have to stop crossing it to a 5'10" striker.
Yes, that is also a huge issue that I noticed. That especially against Houston, that was.
They had something like 40 crosses against Vancouver.
Oof.
And Houston combined. I think something like that.
I want to look up that stat.
It was something insane.
That is insane. Does MLS.com show that stat? Oh,
I have no idea.
They don't.
I think.
Okay, well, okay. If we're gonna go off of 1 game performances, I want to go off the Galaxies against Vancouver. They were level on shots, but the Galaxy only had 1 on target. The Whitecaps had 4. The Whitecaps had less possession throughout the entire game. They created 0 chances, and yet the Whitecaps still beat them 1-0 and the Galaxy were playing at home, mind you. That is just what even.
Where do you even start with that?
Also, Joe Corona had an absolute stinker of a game, dude.
Just a mare, dude. That was like one of the worst games I've ever watched somebody play.
Oh yeah, and I think the highlight for them is Christian Pavone at the moment.
I was gonna say Pavone's key, dude.
He is so good, arguably the best winger in the league. I think, if we're looking at pure talent and not stats, I think. But I mean, if we're gonna look at stats, he's probably not. But I think he's the only reason that that they even got the draw in Houston. I think.
Well, yeah, because it was a long ball to him.
He scored a pretty good goal, from what I remembered.
Yeah. Like a 20-yard curler into the top right.
Oof. Oh no, I remember it now. That was a great goal.
Lovely stuff.
But yeah, it's just at the moment, the Galaxy have a lot of faults. At the moment, I'm just not sure what they're going to do, especially if Chicharito doesn't score. What's their plan? But again, like you said, they need to stop playing like Zlatan is on the field, because he's not. It's Chicharito, who is significantly shorter and with less physical prowess than Zlatan has.
Yeah,
you can say it, bro. He's just worse.
well, okay. No, I think he's.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
He's gonna defend him because he's a West Ham player.
I was gonna say that.
He's just worse, man.
No. Look. Okay, he is a worse player, but I think that the Galaxy aren't used to not having a guy who stands there for half the game and then pulls out a worldie.
Yeah.
Chicharito is worse, but I don't think he's that worse in terms of how he plays. I would prefer to play with Chicharito than I would with Zlatan if I'm on the Galaxy.
Ooh, that's a bold statement.
Now I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because, everybody likes to play with more of a team player.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about a goal poacher here. And goal poaching is so important in these cup games. So I will give him credit where credit is due. But let's not sit back and pretend that Chicharito from 5-6 years ago is the same Chicharito we're getting today. Even a fraction of what we're getting today.
Not even close.
No, dude, I watched him, bro. I watched Chicharito at West Ham, dude.
And it was absolute pain, dude. It was absolute pain.
I know, but he still popped up with the odd important goal, which I'll give him credit for.
Huge in these games. That's how I see LA Galaxy potentially getting through, and probably beating Portland.
Yeah.
So
what I'm saying is, I think that they have to stop using him as a lone striker. They have Christian Pavone, just put him up top with Chicharito.
Yeah.
They have one of the I think that Sebastian Lletget is one of the best players in the pool at playing close to a striker.
That is a very good point right there. I was going to bring up Sebastian Lletget.
Yeah, I think that he's one of the best at playing as like a attacking mid almost.
Yeah.
But like a defensive one, kind of what I want to see from Paxton Pomykal when he gets into the United States men's national team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Chicharito's good when he has the players around him that can get the ball into the box, but not in the way that they're doing it right now.
Yeah.
Chicharito, when he was playing for West Ham, that's when I watched him, so I can say this. But he was best when he played with Marko Arnautovic. He could play off of him. Arnautovic was a big physical presence. He won the ball. He was quick, and then Chicharito was there to clean up whenever he needed to, which is what he's good at.
So what you're saying is just that Arnautovic completely carried Chicharito.
No. What I'm saying is that Chicharito is best when he's played in a 2 up top.
And can be carried by the other striker, effectively.
No, okay. Right.
Are you hearing me?
I think a key for the Galaxy is, who do they start in the midfield? I think that's a big thing. Not Katai. He's gone. Thank God. Hate that guy. But
should help their chemistry, right?
Oh yeah. It's just like I think the absolute must start is Jonathan Dos Santos. I think that's agreeable. But it's just, who are those other two midfielders that they play? I think Sebastian Lletget.
Question and Lletget, I think.
Carry Kitchen, dude.
Joe Corona did start for. I believe he
I
started
need this
both
dude gone,
games
bro. I
for
do
the
not want
Galaxy.
Jacob here
God.
ever again. But yeah, go on. Sorry,
Okay.
Jules.
Joe Corona, if I'm not incorrect, he started both games for the Galaxy this season, right?
I
Yes.
do not believe he did. He start the game against Houston?
I think he did because
pretty
I think I
sure.
remember he also had a very poor performance.
Who's Joe?
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Joe Corona came on in the 58th minute.
Okay, regardless, Sebastian Lletget needs to be the guy playing, especially with Chicharito. If he can just get the ball to Chicharito and those two can just link up, that's a good combination, honestly. And especially with Christian Pavone on the wing, the Galaxy need to be utilizing Sebastian Lletget and Christian Pavone if they want to get Chicharito to be this goal-scoring machine that they were promised. But
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's just and I hate to say this and kind of agree with Jacob a little bit, but you do need players for a player like Chicharito. You need players that are willing to link up with him. And I hate to say the word carry because I don't think that's right. I think that Chicharito can work well on his own, but he needs somebody that gets him the ball. I think it's as simple as that.
He needs somebody to get
that's
him
where
the
he
ball.
thrives.
We need to get him the ball 2 feet out in front of goal, and then he can convert it. It's not that hard, boys.
But yeah, the Galaxy.
I need this dude eradicated.
Dude, I'm just speaking facts, man.
No, because that's not what we're saying, bro. Okay.
Dude, I know that's not what you're saying, but it's what I watch with my 2 eyes every time I have to watch that man play, dude. And I'm saying have to watch him because it is a pain to watch him play.
I think we should move on to a second place team.
Well, hold on. I just want to say that the Galaxy have the ability to get the best out of Chicharito. They have one of the
100%.
best in between the line ball carriers in MLS history in Sasha Kleshin. Dude's got over 100 MLS assists, I'm pretty sure.
Something like that. Something crazy.
Yeah. He's got over 100 MLS assists. They've got one of my favorite U.S. men's national team players in Sebastian Lletget,
Yes.
who, by the way,
Not
his
just 'cause
girlfriend's
he's from
very
West Ham.
hot.
Okay.
Whoa. So now you're judging players' ability based off how attractive they are? This ruins all of your credibility from the,
No.
the last
By
hour on,
how
dude.
attractive their girlfriend is, bro.
In second place, I had the Portland Timbers. No, I see what you're saying, and I definitely agree. Sebastian Lletget is one of my favorite U.S. men's national team players, honestly. But yeah, we should move on because we are very far into this already. Second place, as I said, I did have the Portland Timbers. I know Jacob disagrees, but Joss, what did you have?
Well, it wasn't LAFC, Jules.
That's a good point. So I see Joss and I again. We are connected.
We are linking up, bro.
We are
linking up.
connected. Telekinetically
We are
connected, bro.
Chicharito and Kleshin, bro.
No, Chicharito and Lletget, man. That's where it's at. But
Dude, as soon as that happens, bro, I can't. Anyway, go on.
but yeah.
All right, and I clearly have LAFC.
What did you actually?
Yeah.
I hate this dude, bro. I can't.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Dude's talking
I'll,
about my credibility, bro. I can't with this guy.
I'll let Jacob explain himself. I want to explain why I had the Timbers in second. Actually, no, I already did explain why I had the Timbers in second. But I don't know. It's just the Timbers step up to the task. I think that's my big thing is that the Timbers in the playoffs usually end up stepping up to the task. They don't always get through and they don't always win the trophy. In fact, oh my god, the last time they won was 2015. I just realized that. But the Timbers step up in the playoffs. And I hate saying this, but they really stepped up in 2018 when they got to Atlanta and knocked out Kansas City, but
Yeah.
they're a playoff team, especially with Darren Asprilla, who just always steps up in the playoffs.
Playoff Espria.
Playoff Asprilla is one of my favorite
This
players.
house we worship Playoff Espria.
He's very fun to watch. But yeah,
Jacob,
Jacob,
all the problems, dude. He's
Jacob,
still so good.
Jacob, I really need you to explain, and I'm not gonna say anything while you're speaking, so just go ahead and speak why you have LAFC getting second.
Hold on,
place in
Jacob.
this
I
group.
actually have EFBI on the line, so they're gonna want to hear this one as well.
Okay. Let's be very realistic here. LAFC are a very good team. Excellent
Yes.
team. And that's why they deserve to come second, because they are not the perfect team for this group. I mean, let's look here. Odds-on favorite to win this group, right? Everything would tell you that everything leans in their favor. I mean, their lineup is stacked. They are a bunch of studs. But let's not just sit here and forget about their match against Lyon, dude. Right? Away on the road.
Yeah.
Losing 2-0 in the CONCACAF.
Okay.
Out of their element.
If we're
That
gonna
is
go
what
off
they are
that,
going.
if we're gonna go off
what
that,
they were.
I'm sorry. If we're gonna go off that, Atlanta did lose 3-0 against Club America.
Now that's Club America. That is not Lyon. Let's get that straight. First of all, those are two drastically different. We're talking about Lyon. Do you even know what? I mean, Lyon is not even close to Club America in stature. Now I know they're second right now, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say this season they have been.
It doesn't even matter, man. I've heard of Club America when I was a kid. I had never heard of Lyon. You know, as far as I'm sure concerned, that's still a city in France. But the way I see it, they're not going to be used to this condition. We have seen them struggle in the playoffs. And I think it's not that unrealistic to see that they drop a point and they finish on 7 and they finish second. I think they're still going to easily go through. I'd even go as far to say they might even be my favorite to win this entire tournament, but they are not my favorite to win Group F.
Wow.
Wait, what?
So I'm just gonna make this very clear. So your favorite to win Group F, if I'm not mistaken,
is not your favorites to win the tournament.
is
No,
the
Houston Dynamo. Well, let me get this straight. Houston
Okay.
Dynamo are getting knocked out in the round of 16. I don't even care what anybody
Yeah,
says.
okay. Then I'll agree with you on that. Even if Houston get through, they're out. But
But Houston Dynamo. Are we going to forget what tournaments are all about, man? Houston Dynamo are the epitome of how this tournament is going to run. Okay, so first of all, let's just look at their lineup here for just a quick second. It is an utter shambles, right? I'll give you that. But they have some God-given scorers in this team. And this is what I love about it. Minotas, dude, that dude's going to run and just get these counter-attacking goals. And it's just going to be total just chaos. And then we throw in the fact that they have Darwin Quintero now, who, by the way, took this, team called Minnesota United from this, just okay side to this amazing, just phenomenal, fun to watch team.
respect Iko Para.
Okay, I respect Iko Para, but let's not
I
pretend that
detected a sheer lack of disrespect for Mason Toy.
Okay, but are we gonna lie and pretend that if Darwin Quintero is not there, that does not happen? Clearly he was.
We are
part of
not
that,
lying.
right? And we're talking about a new system. And let me just throw this out here: the Houston Dynamo are the most equipped team to play in this environment. Why? Because of the heat, and secondly, the most important factor, they always play in front of no fans. So they're completely ready for this group to come through.
He doesn't miss. Bro.
He doesn't miss. Okay, no, Jacob's right. I agree with Jacob now. Okay.
Thank you for letting me wind this whole up. My actual
He was
standings go.
waiting for that. Bro. He was waiting.
He was
drop
poaching
that
that one, dude.
Oh
So-
man!
So now that I've taken you guys for this
Chicharito on the
spin,
back post.
here's my actual standings for this group, just because I wanted to just have some fun here, and I was seriously I was just waiting for that moment to
Are you
rile
serious?
you guys up.
Wait,
No,
really?
yeah, for sure. LAFC,
Yeah, that's Jacob, bro.
LAFC easy run out this group winners.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there's a question being asked. I actually do think that the Houston Dynamo can get through on a third place game, but I think Portland comes second. They've just got much more experience, and I think experience does show in these tournaments and just overall quality. I've got LA Galaxy coming last, though.
Ooh.
Now let me talk about LAFC for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think they run out my group of winners. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think they stumble is I think that if I'm Guillermo Barros or I'm Tab Ramos or I am Giovanni Savarese, I am studying the hell out of the Philadelphia Union game.
Oh, yes.
Philly found a way to score against LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
against an indomitable 2003-2004 Arsenal LAFC in terms of just how like good they are.
Yeah.
I think in terms of MLS standards. But this Philly team ran out 3-3 at Bank of California. So I'm studying the defensive weaknesses of this LAFC team that have been exposed by the Philadelphia Union.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as soon as LAFC comes up against a team that has these dynamic dribblers on the front three, as soon as they come up against a team that is not afraid to press them and work hard in the midfield, then I think that they're going to have a little bit of trouble. Because I think that's what Philly did well. I think that they worked hard, and they Brandon Aronson covered, I think 5 to 7 miles. It's been a while since I read the stat, but he covered a lot of ground that game.
That's insane, actually.
Now I haven't read that stat since the end of that actual game. But I remember just Twitter was losing their mind about Brandon Aronson covering that much ground.
He's insane. He should be on the national team.
Big fan of Brandon Aronson, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So I'm just studying. I'm watching this Philadelphia team and how Jim Curtin set them up for success. And I think that if the teams do that, because obviously the Timbers, the Galaxy, the Dynamo, they are talent. They have talented individuals on the team. I think that LAFC will tear apart Houston, but I'm going to be interested to see how they fare against the Galaxy without Zlatan, who seemed to love to score against LAFC. So it'll be interesting to watch. But I'm studying this Philly team, and that's what I'm doing if I were the coach, and that's what I expect them to be doing right now. If they can do that well, then LAFC are going to have some trouble, and we might get another 3-3. That'd be fun.
Ooh. Now here's what I'm going to say. I was going in and out of this match because this night was the night that I had just come back from our track meet, so I was super lightheaded when watching this game. But if I remember right, I believe that LA was pretty dominant in that game. Or at least it looked like it, right? So yeah. It was more of a counter-attacking performance
yes,
from Philly.
From Philly, yes.
No, and again, I was just making sure I was correct on that. That being said, I think actually, all jokes aside, obviously Manotas is set up well. Pavone is set up well for that. Portland, I don't necessarily know if they have the same kind of player that'll have that counter-attacking ability. But the one thing I will say is I also remember Philadelphia was extremely clinical that game. And I know I was making jokes about this earlier, but Portland was clinical and has been clinical in the past, especially in playoff games when it matters. And I think that was one of the huge keys for Philly in that game. So maybe that's a way through for them.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But obviously they run away with it. They're the reigning Shield champs. And again, it's kind of different tournament style, but LAFC, again, just all around quality around the whole pitch. I mean, I could just name off their entire starting 11, and honestly, I'd love to see any of those players in Europe, especially Atuesta. I think that's the big one I want to see in Europe soon. But like you guys said, they showed some weakness against Philly, but I am going to concede that they were dealing with CONCACAF at the time as well. And we know, especially with MLS teams, CONCACAF just absolutely destroys a lot of teams' MLS seasons. And I think we definitely started to see that with with LAFC while they were playing Philadelphia. But another big part of CONCACAF is that I think it really destroys attacks for most MLS teams. We saw that with Kansas City. They struggled to score last season while they were dealing with CONCACAF play. So for LAFC to, of course, have just an absolute mar I wouldn't say it was an absolute mar on their back line. Philadelphia was just really clinical. But also score 3, I think it's kind of a glass half empty, half full kind of situation with LAFC with that kind of game. But I think now that LAFC is fully rested and obviously won't be fully 100% fit, we know that. But they've had time to reconsider what happened with that Philadelphia game. that is all they've been thinking about probably. And again,
Yeah.
I think it's
I was
also a
gonna say that,
situation.
yeah.
It's a situation where every team is studying that Philadelphia game, but you're also having LAFC and Bob Bradley just being like, okay, what went wrong? How do we fix it? We have so much time to fix it. And I think that we are going to see an LAFC defense that comes out maybe not stronger, but definitely different. It's going to be different from LAFC. But yeah. So, if it's all good with you guys, I think we're done with the MLS is Back tournament predictions, so round of applause to us for getting this far. All right, but yeah, since we're done with the MLS is Back tournament talk, we just have one quick topic we're going to touch on here. It's actually a statement from DeAndre Yedlin, and I am going to kind of link this to a recent event that happened in MLS while I'm talking about it. So DeAndre Yedlin made a pretty bold statement about the U.S. men's national team a couple days ago as of recording this. Of course, we know the national team has been subject to a lot of, I guess you'd call it political controversy, especially the women's national team for their recent change in the national anthem policy. Of course, now players don't have to stand for the national anthem, which, again, whatever. But DeAndre Yedlin made a pretty big statement, I think. He said that he was questioning whether he wants to continue to play for the U.S. men's national team. And, you know, of course, the men's national team is not like, for most countries, it's not a full reflection of what your country is. And I don't think anybody is conceding that fact at the moment. But I think where it does come in is just, is this something I want to stand for, especially with the national anthem? But a big thing that did come out of this week in terms of all of this, all the Black Lives Matter movement talk, is that MLS formed the Black Players Coalition on the date of Juneteenth, which of course is a huge historic date, especially for this movement. But yeah, it's so interesting to see this right now, is just how these players are making a statement about what's going on in this country. I think DeAndre Yedlin, it's hard for me to say that he's 100% on point, but I'm not going to say he's off point, because I don't think he is. I think he has the right to say what he's saying right now. I just think the men's national team is not a full reflection of U.S. politics. I get, you know what? No, I'm not gonna say that even. I think he's 100% right the more I'm thinking about it. We look at just the. There's no way to say it without being political, but I mean, everything's political. Screw it. The racial injustice.
No. Race is not a political topic. I mean,
exactly.
Race is
exactly.
It's a human right.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Humanity.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Screw it. If you want to say it's political, I don't care. Stop watching this podcast. I don't give a shit, honestly.
Let's go.
But
Julz does not miss, bro.
It's just there's. I completely lost where I was, but just the racial injustice in this country. It is unavoidable at this point. It is unavoidable to not talk about it, or to talk. It's unavoidable talking about it. That system, I think, sort of has translated over into the men's national team when we look at it. I think looking at it, I think recently we've had lots of big strides with racial equality. But one of the big things that I've been noticing is just a lack of diversity in the coaching department of the men's national team. And I'm not sure if that's just me or if it's something that everyone else has been noticing too. I feel like it was CJ Sapong who made a statement on it.
It was.
Yeah. There is a lack of diversity in the higher levels of U.S. soccer, and I think that is just become so clear to me with all these players making statements, is that the higher levels there is just a huge lack of diversity. And it's like, nobody's saying that you should be hired just because you're African American. Nobody's saying that. What we are saying is that having a diverse leadership, it allows us to make better decisions for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And I think that DeAndre Yedlin is hitting it on the head here with just these protests that are going on in the country. I think that him saying he doesn't want to represent this country at the moment with the U.S. men's national team, just the lack of diversity in the leadership roles, I think is a spot-on statement from DeAndre Yedlin. And I am very happy for him to be saying something like this. And he's gotten a lot of backlash, but that's neither here nor there. DeAndre Yedlin has hit it on the head with this one.
Yes.
Now, here's what I'm going to say. I 100% agree this is a U.S. problem. But I would venture to go beyond and say that this is more than just a U.S. problem, that this is a world problem that we are seeing. Today, it was said in the Premier League, and this is something that I didn't even think about until today. Nuno Espirito Santos is the only non-white manager in the Premier League. Non-white male manager in the Premier League, even if we want to take it to that extent.
Wow, I guess you're right. I never even thought about the Premier League.
Right, and so we're not even just talking about MLS. We're not even talking about the U.S. men's national team. Admittedly, those are problems and those are things that we need to fix. But this problem just spans throughout soccer. And for as a game that we talk about as progressive as it is in general, there is a shocking lack of diversity in that department.
There's a shocking amount of racism as well.
Right.
But
yeah.
We knew that.
And again, it is important, I believe, like you acknowledge, that there have been improvements that have made. That being said, we still have to call out where there's been injustices. It continues to be injustices. And I think that is just crucial at this point. And for me, I think it is absolutely phenomenal that DeAndre Yedlin said something about this. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're talking about it. Other people are talking about it. Not even a week ago, players were not even allowed to protest the national anthem, a U.S. fundamental right.
Mm-hmm.
And so this dialogue needs to be continued and questions need to be asked, because I guarantee you the best, how many teams are there in MLS? 24?
Yeah.
The best 24 coaches that the MLS can have are not all white at the end of the day. Like, that's just, statistics don't work out that way.
Right. I think that is a very good statement to make.
I think
you have something? Yeah. Okay.
Both of you covered that extremely well.
Okay.
I will say that DeAndre Yedlin coming out and saying that he will no longer play for his national team is a huge statement, because I think that is one of the dreams of most players in the world. To suit up for your national team and represent them on the highest level is something that a very few people get to say that they've done.
Right.
And I think that letting go of that is it's just it's risky. And I don't know, it's not really risky, but it's just like I'm a fan of that, because I don't know many players that would have done that. Because at the end of the day, like, they are still people with dreams that want to represent their country and play at the highest level. But DeAndre Yedlin's come to terms with the fact that he cannot, in the right mind, do that when his country is treating a whole group of people as poorly as they are. And so I have huge respect for DeAndre Yedlin for doing that. I think that it's very, I feel like brave isn't really the right word.
It's the right thing to do, I think.
But I think it's like consciously, I think he's forced with the choices either to represent a country that treats people unfairly, or to go with his mind go with his heart over his mind, and doing what he knows is right. And so I will always have huge respect for it. I think CJ Sapong is also correct in his saying that the front office isn't as diverse and coaches aren't as diverse as they need to be. Now, what Jacob said earlier about Nuno being the only non-white coach, that is very telling as well. I think MLS does a better job than the Premier League in hiring diverse coaches, because we have a lot of, like your Savareses, your Almeidas, you're, you know, like I
Yeah.
think that we haven't done as well as we need to do, but we've done better than leagues like the Prem have in terms of promoting diversity amongst the coaching staff. But there is always room to improve, and I think that MLS needs to start improving if they want to show that they are the community-driven league, the diverse league that they say they are.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly fair statement. But I'm not sure. I think we've pretty much touched on the Black Players Coalition about as much as we really need to. It's just basically the Black players of MLS created their own coalition to I'm trying to figure out a way to word it. It's a pretty lengthy statement, but they're just trying to make sure that there's no bias among the league, no racial bias, and they're trying to ensure that players are culturally educated when they arrive in the U.S., and they also want to diversify the hiring practices of Major League Soccer. So far, 70. I think it has definitely increased since they announced this, though. 70 players joined. Amongst them, Sean Johnson, Bill Hamid, Ike Opara, Justin Morrow. Justin Morrow is the executive director, and I'm pretty sure that number is growing as we speak, even. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I think the Black Players Coalition is. It's hard for me to say anything but, I guess, revolutionary, but that sounds a bit dramatic, but it kind of is, because there's nothing like this in the world, in soccer in general.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
The Premier
Like,
League
do we
doesn't have it.
expect other leagues to follow suit?
I think if you want to show that you're really behind what this movement is all about, I think that as a league you should go through with following suit with MLS. I think it's only smart.
I agree.
Now, that being
100%.
said, I don't think it necessarily has to be like 100% immediate. Like, we shouldn't be bashing on the Premier League right now because they're not like doing this. Something like this is definitely going to take time to reach the Premier League, or to reach a country that has more racial bias, like, say, like Italy, I think would be a good example. It's going to be time before we see something like this, especially in there. But I think at some point within the next year or two, I think we should start to see this pop up elsewhere. I think that we're definitely going to see a lot more of the Black Players Coalition in the months to come for MLS, especially with the tournament coming up. I think we're going to see them a lot more. But yeah, I think... Are we at the end of the road here?
Think so.
All right.
I think so.
Yeah, all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This has been episode 9? Yes, 9 of the Designated Podcast. If you guys do enjoy this content, please make sure to subscribe. We do post this weekly. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this podcast. Check us out on Twitter. We have a lot of shenanigans going on there, especially with MLS returning now. We do tweet quite often over there.
There's going to be a lot of memes.
Oh, yeah, a lot. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys on the next podcast. Peace out.
Peace. Later.